What is good, my people? This is Kobe2408. So it looks like they are going to rework all the crit items in League of Legends, which is insane. I know they've done a rework already with the Storm Razor, Rapid Firecannon, IE, Essence Reaver. I think they reworked Phantom Dancer, not really sure, but yeah, basically they're gonna do another rework. Basically they're reverting some of the items back to its like original state, which is good. Like especially Infinity Edge, it needed to be reverted back. But let's look at the items real quick because I tend to talk too much sometimes. Okay, let's scroll down here. So here I'm gonna on the screen you're gonna see the original item currently in the game, and then you're gonna see obviously right in front of you is the new reworked item. So basically this Infinity Edge right here is the old Infinity Edge. So they're thinking about putting the Infinity Edge back to its original state, which was amazing. It was so good on so many champions. So here we have right 70 attack damage, that's normal, and then we have 40% crit strike chance, and then the passive increases your critical strike chance bonus damage by, I think it was by double the really old one, but here it says bonus damage by a fair and balanced amount. I think they're probably going to change that. The old IE, if you guys remember way back, the passive used to double your crit chance. It was insane. So basically, yeah, it's going to be going back to its original state. However, they're thinking about another iteration of this item, which is right here, which is crazy. It's a 5,000 gold item, Infinity Edge. I think it's going to be the most expensive item. I don't think there's anything else that's 5,000 gold. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but here it is. This is the new Infinity Edge that they're thinking about. I think it's insane. Look, it has 2 BF swords, a Zeal, and then it builds into the new Infinity Edge. So 80 attack damage, 30% attack speed, because you have the Zeal right there, 5% movement speed from the Zeal, and increases critical strike chance by 50%, and critical strike bonus damage by a fair amount and a balanced amount. That's probably going to change again. This is crazy, because I know a lot of champions, like especially if you get ahead, like with Caitlyn and Draven, they'll normally build like 2 BF swords, so that way you still have your damage with the BF swords, and then you get your obviously your attack speed from the Zeal item, and then once you build into this IE, dude, you're gonna be a monster. This item is crazy. 5,000 fucking gold, man. 5,000 gold, that's crazy. So now here we have the Rapid Fire Cannon. Now there's a few things that are changing on this. So 30% attack speed is still there. However, the critical strike chance has gone down by 5%. The movement speed has gone up by 5%. And then the energized strike, if I can say it, basically all this is changing in Firecannon. It's not changing, but it's like they've kind of split these two up. So Energized Strike and Firecannon were like both under one passive. Now it's just basically going to be split up into 2 passives. Here we have the Static Shiv. Now Static Shiv is receiving an increase in attack speed. It's going from 35% to 50% attack speed. Damn, that's a lot. Damn, that's so much. Anyway, so you have 50% attack speed, 25% critical strike, that's gone down by 5%. Then you have 5% movement speed, that's the same. However, the passive, they just broke it out again. Normally, it's just written in one. I think it's called Shiv Lightning. Now, Shiv Lightning has its own little passive note, and then Energized Strike has its own little passive note as well. So that's what's going on. Basically, the 50% increased attack speed is huge. That's what's getting buffed about Static Shiv. Let's scroll down here. So now we have Hexdrinker. Now this is changing in the way it builds. It's building from a stopwatch and then a sword right here into the Hexdrinker. Also, it's losing its magic resistance. So in place of the magic resistance, it's getting this stopwatch, which I like. It makes it a little more defensive. And this item is just a monster. Like when Zed gets it, or Yasuo, or, you know, because I play Malzahar, and if those champions get the Hexdrinker, basically I can't do anything to them until I get some magic pen. So I think this is a better way to go about the Hexdrinker, because it's a pretty like basically a broken item for how much it costs. It's so cheap and it gives you so much value for like the stats that it gives. Okay, so what's going on? Okay, so it has plus 20 attack damage. The lifeline still the same, nothing changing about that. Again, like I said, it builds from a stopwatch instead of, I think it I forget, it takes a magic resistance item, I forget what it was, but anyways, yeah, so that's the new build for the Hexdrinker. So now we have Phantom Dancer. Now this is getting a huge rework. So basically here's all the stats. 20 plus attack damage. That's from the Hexdrinker. You have 30% attack speed. That's going down from 45. You have 30% critical strike. So that is the same. You have 5% movement speed. However, it's much more of a defensive item because you get lifeline now from the Hexdrinker passive. Interesting. I'm not really sure how this is going to play out very well because I don't see a lot of people building Phantom Dancer already anyways, so This might be good in some of the tankier champions or top lane or bruisers up in the top lane. I'm not sure how this is going to work out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below because, yeah, I'm a little confused about this one. Phantom Dancer just needs I don't know if this is the way to go about Phantom Dancer, but it needs a revamp for sure. I don't see many champions, like I said, build this item. So now we have Essence Reaver. Now, this is getting changed on its passive. So the attack damage is the same. The 20% cooldown reduction is the same. 300 mana is the same. The build path is the same. However, the passive is changing, right? The second one says dealing 30% of the champion's health within 2.5 seconds grants you Essence Flare for 6 seconds. This has changed from, instead of just using your ultimate and then after your ultimate you get Essence Flare, now after doing 30% of the champion's damage, you get Essence Flare, which is going to be crazy on Jhin. I think they changed it specifically for Jhin. It's going to be crazy because Jhin does so much damage with this crit shot. So, yeah, I can't wait for this item to actually go live on the PvE so I can test it out. But that is going to be a beast of an item. So now we have Stormrazor. Now, obviously, they have to do something about this item because it's not going to be the go-to item. Infinity Edge will be if it gets buffed. So, basically, what they're changing is the passive. I'm not really sure how the passive is going to work out. So, you have the 60 attack damage, still the same. 35% attack speed, still the same. How it builds, I believe that's still the same. However, you have this unique passive, Energized Strike. So your energized attacks deal 80 bonus magic damage on hit. That's new. And then your Storm Strike, your energized attacks damage is increased by 30% of attack damage. So, yeah, it's still, this item still feels like it's going to be pretty bad. Just, I'm not really sure what they have to do. I think they have to increase the attack damage. I mean, they can keep those two passives, it's fine. But I think the attack damage has to be increased. And it has to compete with, obviously, the Infinity Edge. So now we have a different version of Stormrazor. I think this one's a lot better. It's much different than the one I just talked about. So the 60 plus attack damage still the same, 35% attack speed still the same. However, it builds different, builds from a I forget what that sword's called, the attack speed sword, whatever. And then basically there's a brand new passive on this. Gain a charge of Storm's Edge every 10 seconds, max 3 charges. So what Storm's Edge does is your next basic attack against a champion deals 30 to 80 damage and grants 40% movement speed for 0.5 seconds. That is going to be amazing in lane because, okay, so every 10 seconds you get a charge. So you're going to be farming for a little bit, and then once you have a charge, you're going to use that charge against, you're obviously going to harass with that or harass the champion or the enemy champion. Can I get it right? Enemy champion with that charge. So that's going to be really good. So I'm just thinking, because I play Jhin a lot, so I'm just thinking, so Jhin, you're auto-attacking the lane, and then 10 seconds is up, you get a charge, bam, you hit the enemy champion with your crit shot and this. With your next basic attack against the champion deals 30 to 80 damage. So basically, you're doing your crit shot damage, and then you're doing 30 plus 80 damage to the enemy champion. It's going to be crazy. Plus, you can stack up to 3 charges. So you can just sit in lane for 30 seconds, do nothing, and then have 3 charges, and I think you can just let all 3 charges go off on all 3 basic attacks, right? I think that's how it's going to work. I don't think there's a cooldown between the charges. It doesn't say anything like that, but yeah, I think this is going to be... They need this Stormrazor instead of the other Stormrazor that they're thinking about. Either this one or that one is going to be the new Stormrazor. Now you have Last Whisper. Now this is just getting a straight up buff. It's normally 10 attack damage, 10 armor penetration. Now it's going to 20 attack damage, 20% armor penetration, which is really good because right now it's kind of like a tank meta a little bit. I'm not really sure where the meta is, honestly, actually. But yeah, some of the tankier champions is really hard to kill, so this buff is very needed. Now the last item they're thinking about changing is the Maw of Malmortius. So you can see the build path has changed too, so I'll talk about that in just a second, but the attack damage is going up by 10, the magic resist is going down by 10, the cooldown reduction is the same. The lifeline, I believe, is still the same. Let me check. Yes, it is. It's still the same. Nothing's changing on that. Actually, wait. I'm sorry. It is changing. 20% or 20 plus attack damage, as you can see at the bottom, still there. However, 10% spell vamp and 10% lifesteal when you're until you're out of combat. So that life grip has been increased. I think that's what it used to be. That's why Graves at one point was like so ridiculous in the jungle. He would just build Maw of Malmortius and he would just go around blowing people up and not dying, basically because of the 10% spell vamp and the 10% lifesteal. So yeah, that is getting buffed. Also, the build path is changing. They added the Negatron cloak. I believe, yes, the amount that it costs, $32.50, still the same. However, just the build path is changing. They added the Negatron cloak. And that's all I got for you guys for today. As always, make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Make sure you hit the notification button so you know when I upload new videos or when I'm live streaming. And you guys stay awesome, my friends, and I'm out. Peace!